Welcome back to Passionate About Music Education. I'm Rachel Hardman, and today's episode is all about anxiety. Everybody experiences anxiety at certain points within their life. Everybody experiences anxiety within teaching and learning, but sometimes that anxiety gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and we need to have healthy strategies to cope with it. There are times when you might find that anxiety is playing too much of a role in your life, and it is actually impacting your health and how you feel and how you're turning up for your whole life, not just your career. So how do we identify when we're feeling anxiety, and how do we identify good strategies to help with anxiety? Having suffered from anxiety at times throughout my career, one of the big signposts for me when I know that I'm struggling is when I wake up. So I'll wake up first thing in the morning and instantly my head goes on 100 miles an hour, thinking about all the things that I need to do, but generally from a negative point. So I'll be thinking about all those emails I didn't do, or that lesson planning I didn't do, or that, I've got all this work to do, am I going to get through it? And that sort of sense of dread that builds up. It's sort of that some momentum that's going 100 miles an hour, and you find your heart starting to beat really fast, and you're going, hang on a second, it's 6:15 in the morning, I'm thinking about work, this is not healthy, this is not good, but you can't stop it. You then start to worry about the future. You start to worry about, anxiety is linked with worrying about the future. Oh, what's going to happen here? What happens to that? Oh, I've got this email. What does that mean? And I don't know whether this lesson's going to go right. I don't know whether this thing outside of my personal life is going to go right. And it really starts, that anxiety starts to be about the future. But it's also about not being able to control the future, that unknown. And if you're struggling with anxiety, it's often because you want to control what you don't know. You're trying to control the unknown. When we're feeling anxious, particularly about the future, it's often because we don't want to let go of the safety net that we feel in, that comfortableness, trying to do something new or push ourselves into new boundaries, or trying to go for that promotion or to do that big concert when we've never done it before. There's that fear of that unknown, and how will that look, and are we going to be successful, and are people going to judge us, are we going to fail? And we put these sort of boundaries, this pain, these fears in our way because we're not able to control it. So that's, sometimes when that anxiety gets really bad. And often we're afraid to fail, we're often afraid to have faith in ourselves. And some of that comes from, of course, childhood traumas, childhood experiences, college experiences, particularly for musicians. I think, we've all been told we're not good enough a number of times. And it's really having that sort of lack of self-worth and that belief in yourself that you're good enough because you've heard that message. And of course, people don't do it necessarily on purpose, but it does stay with us. So that can also create that anxiety. Are we good enough? Are we a good enough teacher? Are we serving our students well? Are we a good enough musician? Can we actually achieve this? Are we worthy of the next step? And that's a lot of where our anxiety is rooted. Comes from our ego mind wanting to keep us safe and protected, to question everything. But the problem with the ego mind is it keeps us in all that negative self-talk, which is not healthy, and of course makes the anxiety worse. So when you start to feel those telltale signs, that sort of dread of going into work, or that instant get up and your mind's racing, or you can't go to sleep because you can't turn the thoughts off, this is a point where you really need to, first of all, be aware of it and go, I'm feeling anxious. I can feel that I'm not my healthy, cheerful, normal, bubbly self. And as soon as you do that, this is when you can start putting in some action points. The first one, of course, is to start writing down why you're anxious. What is it that you feel about? Are you anxious about a concert that you're going to do and it not working? Well, how do you know that that's the truth? Going through the process of what is it that I'm worried about? Why do I think it will fail? And how do I know that that's true? How do I know that's not just a story I'm making up? How do I know it'll be a disaster? If you're doing a concert, how do you know it'll be a disaster? Well, what do you need to do to feel more confident, to feel less stressed, to feel less anxious? And by really breaking down that story, really going, is this true? Is this real? Is this benefiting me? Or is this a belief that I'm stuck in? Is this an auto habit that I've learned from other people that it's not actually best serving me? By going into that will really help you start going forward, because a lot of the messages we carry around with us aren't true, but we've heard them said to us. We've heard them repeated in our head so many times that we do believe them. And we have to really go, is this a story that is true, or is this a story I've told myself? And let go of that old story. Let go of that old message, that old belief, because it's not serving you. It's actually keeping you stuck. It's keeping you stuck in anxiety. One of the other steps, of course, is to ramp up the self-care, because if you're feeling anxious, it will bring stress on. It will keep you in that fear and flight. It will keep that ego mind working at 100 miles an hour, flipping between the past and the future, and it's not healthy. So this is really another sign, as soon as you're in that place, that you're probably not doing any self-care. You're not really actually putting yourself first. And of course, when you're in anxious mode and your anxiety and it's linked with work, your first thing a teacher's going to say is, I don't have enough time, I'm busy. But that's actually the problem. You're so busy that you're not serving yourself well. You've probably not eaten properly. You're not probably sleeping well. You're probably not having enough breaks. You're trying to push yourself through exhaustion and tiredness to do work. And none of that is going to help serve you. So this is actually where you need to do much more self-care. You need to get that better sleep habit. You've got to start eating healthy again. You need to block breaks. You need to block your schedule. You need to stop reacting to everybody else's timeline. And again, it sounds easy to say, but it's really hard to do, and I totally get that. But do you need to answer those emails instantly? Could you put an out of office notice on there? Could you even turn off your email notifications until 9-10 o'clock? Are you getting them on your phone? Are you getting messages at 10 o'clock at night? Are you on a WhatsApp group that's not serving you? Really, what isn't serving you, so that you can take that out of your life, take that anxiety, stress that's coming in at any point, other people's timelines, other people's stress that comes in, and we end up reacting to it rather than respond. Can you find a better way to respond to the outside world so that you can serve yourself better, so that you can work on your time frame? That's really, really important. It's a really hard lesson to learn, and it's one we all have to keep practicing. We think we've got it sorted, and then we have to do it again, and then we have to do it again. So really think about how much other people are impacting, and looking for opportunities to respond rather than react. So once you've started putting back into your self-care, your daily self-care, and of course it doesn't have to be hours and hours. It could be a 10-minute bubble bath. It could be 10 minutes of walking outside and getting that fresh air. I mean, there's so many studies about how much exercise is important, but it doesn't have to be going and sweating in the gym for an hour. It could literally be go for a 10-minute walk outside, or sit in the garden, or take your dog for a walk, or walk out with the family. Whatever it is, to get that fresh air, to get that space, and to just calm the mind, to be present, to really be observing if you're walking, the trees and the grass, and really thinking about trying to bring your brain off that constant noise onto the moment and being present in your body. That's really important. So once you've got that self-care starting to go back in, then start to think about adding journaling. So you work through your issues, you work through all those thoughts, and that question of, are these thoughts, stories, beliefs, am I giving it meaning? Am I making something that no longer serves me rule my life? Can I get rid of that? And then of course, one of the other really great strategies for dealing with anxiety is to, of course, do meditation, to really help learn how to calm the mind. And again, like most of us, we go, I haven't got time. And I know I've said that in the past. I haven't got time, I'm too busy. Who's got time to journal? Who's got time to meditate? Well, you do. You just have to change. You just have to change your concept on that, and you actually just go, well, actually, I don't need to spend 2 hours scrolling through everybody else's life on Facebook or Instagram. I don't need to watch Netflix, 5 episodes in one go. I could watch 3 instead. But I've got then time to do meditation and journaling. And those two techniques really do help get that thoughts out of your mind, but also to bring you back into the present. Meditation really helps control the mind. You can observe your thoughts without reacting to your thoughts. You can observe your thoughts and then let them go. You can really go, is this thought really helping? Is this self-talk that I'm allowing in my head really helping me be the best version of me? Or is it actually a negative that I really need to address this story? Obviously, if this anxiety goes on, I would of course recommend you to go and speak to somebody, whether it's within your school system or whether it's outside with a therapist or your doctor, because anxiety is a real issue. But I really hope the advice on here gives you a starting point. And then once you've started your self-care, you started journaling, you've started meditation, and you've really sort of really worked on observing your thoughts, observing the negative thoughts, that negative mindset, then you'll be able to start looking towards the future. What is your future goal? What is your future dream? And really engaging back into that, because sometimes when we're anxious and everything becomes an overwhelm, it's because we're trying to do too much, but we've also lost sight of what it is that we're trying to do. So just sometimes taking a chance to step back, observe what the problems are, to block time for all the things that you're trying to do. Look at what you can get rid of, what's on the not to do list. You know, it might be, you know, not spending 2 hours on a phone call with somebody who is a negative, who brings all that emotion into your life. And I'm not saying change your friendship circle, but of course be observant of how that impacts how you feel, because you end up reacting to it rather than responding to it. I hope this video has been helpful, and if you're feeling anxiety, please note that you're not alone. Every one of us will have gone through that at some point, and we'll go through it again, and we have to just be aware when it's starting to happen and start to put that self-care, the meditation, the journaling and the observation and the mindset in place for us, not for anybody else, but for us, to help us work through it quickly and to start feeling happy and healthy again. Hope you found this video helpful, and I look forward to seeing you again on this channel. I'm Rachel Hardman, and this is Passionate About Music Education.